The contract was 80 pages of cold, hard legalese detailing every aspect of a fabricated life. $2 million full custody protections and a titanium-clad non-disclosure agreement. Catherine, a billionaire CEO running a ruthless tech and real estate empire, thought she had accounted for every single variable. She needed a temporary husband to secure her legacy. He needed a financial miracle to save his dangerously ill son. But as the ink dried on the one-year arrangement, this desperate single dad looked up from the mahogany table, his exhausted eyes piercing her carefully constructed armor, and asked the one question her lawyers forgot to script. Will we sleep in the same bed? The boardroom of Montgomery Holdings, perched on the 6th floor of a glass and steel monolith in Manhattan, was freezing. Catherine Montgomery preferred it that way. Cold air kept her executives alert and prevented the scent of fear from lingering. At 31, Catherine was the sole architect of the company's pivot from traditional commercial real estate into a global property tech superpower. She was brilliant, uncompromising, and currently cornered. Sitting across from her was Alistair Roth, a board member with silver hair and the moral compass of a loan shark. He steepled his fingers, a predatory smile playing on his lips. The terms of your father's trust are ironclad. Catherine Alistair said, his voice dripping with faux sympathy. He was old-fashioned, perhaps dangerously so, but the stipulation remains. Upon your 32nd birthday, if you are not married, your controlling shares revert to the board to be redistributed. You lose the majority vote. You lose the CEO position. Catherine kept her face entirely blank, a skill honed over a decade of surviving in rooms full of men who wanted her job. She adjusted the cuffs of her immaculate Tom Ford blazer. My birthday is in exactly 34 days, Alistair. You seem incredibly eager to measure the drapes in my office. I am merely looking out for the shareholders. The market likes stability. A single woman in her early 30s married only to her work. It makes investors nervous. We need a family figurehead, or we need new leadership. When the meeting adjourned, Catherine retreated to her private office, the facade finally cracking. She poured a measure of Macallan 18 into a crystal tumbler and stared out at the sprawling New York skyline. She had sacrificed everything for this company. Her youth, her personal life, her peace of mind. She was not going to let a group of aging vultures steal it from her because of a misogynistic clause her late estranged father had baked into his will as a final act of control. She pressed the intercom on her desk. Samantha, get in here, now. Catherine's chief legal counsel and the closest thing she had to a friend slipped into the office, locking the door behind her. They're moving in for the kill, Catherine stated flatly, taking a sip of the scotch. Alistair has the votes if I don't secure the shares. I need a husband, fast, and I am not marrying one of those trust fund parasites from the Hamptons who will try to leverage my company for his own gains. Samantha opened her tablet. I figured this was coming. I've been running background checks on potential candidates. Discretion is the primary metric. We need someone who needs money badly enough to sign an ironclad NDA and walk away cleanly in 365 days. Someone completely disconnected from our corporate sphere. Show me what you have. Samantha swiped through several profiles, actors, struggling models, disgraced minor nobility. Catherine dismissed them all. Too desperate for fame, too likely to leak to the press. I need someone grounded, Someone who understands a transaction. Samantha hesitated, pulling up a deeply buried file. There is an unconventional option. His name is Lucas O'Connor, 34 years old. He owned a mid-sized architectural and contracting firm in Brooklyn. A good man by all accounts. Hard-working. Owned, Catherine caught the past tense. Montgomery Holdings acquired the land his primary development was building on last year. We bulldozed the project to build the new tech campus. His firm went bankrupt trying to fight us in court. Catherine winced slightly. Business was business, but she rarely looked at the faces of the collateral damage. Why would he ever agree to marry the woman who ruined his livelihood? Because he is drowning, Samantha said softly. She expanded a photograph on the screen. It showed Lucas, tall, broad-shouldered, with a shadow of stubble, and eyes that looked like they hadn't slept in years. Beside him was a little boy, maybe 5 years old, pale but smiling. His ex-wife Jessica walked out 3 years ago when things got tough. Now his son Leo has a severe congenital heart defect. The surgeries are highly specialized. Lucas sold his house, his truck, everything, to keep the boy at Mount Sinai. He's 3 months behind on rent. He works night shifts loading freight just to pay for Leo's oxygen tanks. Catherine stared at the picture. A man with everything to lose who only cared about one thing in the world. He wouldn't care about her money, her status, or her company. He only needed a lifeline for his child. Offer him $2 million, Catherine said, her voice turning crisp and professional. And full coverage of all medical expenses for the boy at the best private pediatric cardiology ward in the country. Draft the contract. The private dining room at Le Bernardin was oppressively quiet. The ambient lighting caught the subtle gleam of the silver cutlery and the